Hi, everybody. Welcome there. We're really excited to hear about your questions today for Arts and Innovation and the creative industries. My name's Claire China. I'm Head of Faculty for Arts and Innovation. My specialist areas are performing arts and dance, but within our area, we have art and design, media, music, and performing arts and dance. So with me today, I have...
My name's Ian Brennan, and I'm the Faculty Manager for Arts and Innovation. My specialisms are photography and fine art, but within that I still deliver the kind of broad spectrum of art and design as well.
So our vocational area is, as it suggests, it's very, very practically based. So this is about you specialising in a subject area and us giving you that training to prepare you for the industry. So it's really different to what you would have done at school, where you pick a subject and essentially you're taking a slice of that and sort of, it's more of an introduction at GCSE level. So our job is to take it to the next level. So we're really, really anchored in what's happening in the industry. So you get lots of practical experience, lots of on-the-job training, as in sort of live projects that you'll do. One of the most exciting things that we do are collaborative projects. And these are sort of in addition to the qualification. And this is where you get to work across the curriculum areas. So an example of this is working with media students who are filming performance projects. Last year, we did an amazing project at the Haunted House in Westward Ho. So we filmed on site and created this 10-minute video, which was really exciting. So it was all the students that came up with the concept and the idea. They worked with the media students to look at how you would film that and put that into a project. So yeah, so they created a fantastic piece of work. So Ian, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about what you do in art and design and media.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, one of the beauties of art design and media is that whatever level you start at, whether it's the level 2 or the level 3, you get a really good introduction into all those things that you may have done a little bit at school, but maybe didn't have much time to do because you had to move on. It's all based on assignments, and you've got the opportunity to explore lots of different materials and techniques and processes, and actually tailor it a little bit to more of the things that you like to do. So for instance, we end up towards the second year of most level 3 courses where people choose to maybe specialize in graphic design or photography or textiles or illustration or lots of other things as well. And everybody has the same project, but they'll all be working on things that are of interest to them, and all the timescales are all the same, but people are kind of doing their own thing and collaborating, working together, doing all sorts of interesting and fun things. And in my mind, with art, design, media, one of the key things that's important is that actually practically reflecting on those skills that you've employed, developing them by making mistakes, by kind of looking at things, thinking, well, how could I do that better? So that sort of element of refining. And then the really important element to it all is actually exhibiting your work. So we don't want to be making things that just stick in a sketchbook and are hidden in a bubble somewhere. It's really important that you show it to your peers, to your family and friends. We're really into moving stuff online, so we're really into developing your kind of platform skills, but also, when it's not kind of COVID world, exhibiting. So every learner in art, design and media exhibits at the end of year show, and we have a pop-up cinema. We have kind of a couple of hundred different art pieces. There's probably about 300-400 people that come to the show. We have all sorts of nice things, and it's a really good celebration of creativity. Back to you, Claire, if that's right.
Yeah, we could probably talk all day long, but I'm sure lots of you have questions that you want to ask. So yeah, let's see what we've got. Okay, so this is one for you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. It's a really interesting question, this, because photography is my passion. And basically, ever since I was a very small person, I've always been sort of fascinated by anything that had a lens. And I think that's the way in which we approach photography within media. And the whole of the course has a sort of lens-based approach to it. So sometimes it will be still imagery with photography. Sometimes it'll be moving image. So you'll be making either a short film or a sort of short GIF or something that will basically be used in a kind of promotional way. So you get to learn your traditional black and white photography, because we've got an old dark room, which is really lovely old facility, which lots of colleges did away with. We've kept ours because the skills that you use there kind of really set you up for understanding the power of lenses, really. We've also got a couple of studios, so that if you want to do still work and things like that with professional lighting, you can use those. Then in conjunction with that, we've also got really cool up-to-date cameras that will give you that really professional look. So all of our courses use Creative Cloud, so Adobe software, and basically as a learner from on your level 2 and level 3, from when you enroll, you'll actually be able to have that software, and you'll be able to log in at home if you've got a computer that's powerful enough to run the software. So if you're set something and you want to work on it at home as well, you'd be able to do that. Photography, because of the nature of it, is kind of everywhere now, and I think that's the beauty of it. I think we use really high-end equipment, and like Claire was saying right at the beginning, things like the filming at the Landmark Theatre and like producing a show reel for other learners is really useful because it's a client-based activity. But also we encourage you to enter competitions. So there's a photographic competition which I'd encourage Shannon to enter now. It's for the museum in Barnstaple, and the title of that is called Home, and it's a project about how things have changed over the last, say, 6 months to a year. And working in conjunction with things like the museum is really important. And it's that thing, if you love photography, you're going to love the course because it's kind of central to it, really. I hope that answers that. As you progress, if you went from a level 2 to a level 3, in the second year of the level 3 course, towards the end, you've got an opportunity to do a final major project. And we've got learners that right now are just about preparing for their final major project, and they want to go into the world of photography as a profession. So they're beginning to build a portfolio, working with clients, working with some of their friends to produce other elements of courses. So we've had them working with dancers, etc., actors, so that you walk out with a really strong portfolio that will help you maybe establish your own business or go on to university as well.
Cool, thank you, Ian.
That's okay.
Okay, so if you don't get the grades that are needed for admission onto a course, that's a really common question. And it's a really good question as well, because it's something that everybody worries about. And this has been a really, extraordinary year with everything that's gone on with the pandemic. So we run level 2 courses as a progression route from school if you haven't got the grades that you need. So for a level 3 course, all of our vocational courses are the equivalent of 3 A levels at level 3. So you need your 5 grade 4s and above, and that needs to be in maths and English as well. If you don't get those, the level 2 courses are a 1-year course, and they're kind of like a preparatory 1-year program. So the content is not dissimilar to what you would experience on level 3, but it's kind of a taster and it prepares you for it. We actually find it's really positive for students because they come to college, there's a new way of learning, a new way of being assessed. You're trying to work out who you are within our area, usually as an artist. So it really gives you that foundation year to sort of prepare yourself, understand the assessment procedures, how you get assessed, how you evidence your work, and more importantly, how you build and improve your skills over a period of time. So we often find that students, rather than feeling at disadvantage and they had to do an extra year, actually they end up doing exceptionally well on their level 3 program because they've had that extra year to prepare them. So we find it's a really, really positive step, actually.
I think that's it, Claire, isn't it? It's about confidence. Sometimes if you didn't quite get the grades that you were hoping for, your confidence is slightly knocked and you maybe think, well, crikey, maybe I'm not going to be doing the things that I wanted to do. But actually going on the right course at the right level is so important, because basically you will do well if you're on the right course. And because you're on that right course, your confidence goes up, your skills go up, all those things that kind of go hand in hand with preparing yourself for the world of work or university. And then you progress naturally onto the next level course, you'll kind of be a little bit ahead of people that are starting a level 3 course for the first time, because you'll know your way around the facilities. You'll know some of the members of staff. Lots of our level 2 learners that progress on to level 3 are almost like mini ambassadors, because they help those people that are a little bit worried and a little bit unconfident about that transition from school to college. So you're actually in a really good place. So it's one of those things. People sometimes feel slightly disappointed if you don't get the right grades and things like that. But I think one of the things that we've learned from colleges is that over the years, people do well if they feel comfortable and all the rest of it, and are supported properly. And also, one of the most important things as a college, and it's a government initiative, is that if you don't get your maths and English, then obviously you'll need to retake those. And that's a really good balance between having a year to concentrate, maybe getting a maths at a grade 4, and still having a really relevant course that you're enjoying.
We find students feel that it's a more positive approach to resitting maths and English as well, because it's a different way of learning at college. And like you say, like Ian's just said, your main subject is something you're really enjoying, and so you've got the time and the space to invest in the maths or the English, or both, if that may be the case. And it sits in with your timetabled sessions, so it's part of your structured week. So yeah. Okay.
So this next question: how are vocational courses in arts and innovation assessed? Well, first of all, it is sort of down to each of the different courses in terms of how they plan their assessments, and basically they use different awarding bodies. So for instance, in art and design and media, we use University of Arts London, because it's a nationally recognised awarding body that prepares learners for some of the top flight universities. In music, we use Rock School Limited, and again, they were one of the first awarding bodies to create qualifications that were for contemporary music rather than the more traditional grade music that you do when you're at school. They're both really, really good, and my daughter's doing, the old-fashioned E1 at the moment, and is excellent. But this one for music really focuses on those different elements that are really important in terms of, one of them's performance. So it's looking at what the skills you need to be able to be a performer in the industry. And then there's also the opportunity to develop skills in the more sort of production side of things. So the technical aspects of setting things up for a live studio or a festival and things like that. So each one is different, but the central thing that all of our courses have is that they're assignment based. So you'll be given an assignment. That assignment's really clear. It has tasks that are really bulletproof in terms of being able to understand what you're expected to do and by what time scale. They've also got at the bottom of the tasks what you need to submit to be able to pass that course. So we don't leave it in the air so that you have to guess or anything else. It's really nice and clear for you as to what we require. And then through the course of the assignment, which range from about 4 to 6 weeks, we'll be giving you one-to-ones and buddy reviews where there's 2 of you and a lecturer. And basically you'll be talking through your progress, and you'll be talking through what you've done relating to the tasks and whether you're in time and keeping up to date with everything. And also what skills you've developed, etc., things like that. But you've also got that time to do the more personal stuff where you reflect and you kind of write either a blog or a vlog or a sketchbook review, depending on what type of course you're doing. So the good thing with all of these is that basically as your skills progress, you could progress through the 1 or 2 year course. You feel more confident, you feel kind of a bit more focused in terms of why you're doing this, because you might have an end goal, which might be a particular course at uni or a profession. And then you kind of come towards the end. Most, not all, but most of our qualifications have a kind of end of year assessment. So majority are called final major project. And basically, I'll give the art and design one, which is quite similar to most of the others. It's usually between 10 and 12 weeks. It's a personal project. Some are collaborative, but not many. And you do something that's really interesting for you. So you maybe explore a particular theme or a particular material or both, and we guide you through that. So it's a kind of really nice way of working, because you haven't got those really sort of scary exams at the end. You can, if you work hard all the way through, you incrementally can see how well you're doing and what you might need to do to kind of get the best grade, etc., for your reward. But they are all slightly different. I don't know if, Claire, you want to talk about theatre and performing arts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really similar structure. Essentially, what you're doing is coursework-based assessment. So most of the units that you will achieve on all of the qualifications will be internally assessed. So that means it's marked by your teacher. Now, some of the units will have an external examiner, so they'll come in and they'll mark that coursework. And we also have standards verification. So at any point, any sample of work could be picked from anybody and sent off to an examiner. But as Ian said, it's coursework based, and that's usually a combination of written work and practical work. So usually you'll have a project that will have a creative focus. There'll be the practical element to that. So that may be producing a portfolio, a piece of work to exhibit, a performance, a live performance to an audience. It may be an in-house performance, so maybe a studio lunchtime one or a studio-based performance. And then you'll do the written work that supports that. Most of that written work will be reflective practice. So that's you critically analysing the work that you're doing and looking at how you can improve it, looking at your strengths and your weaknesses. And then that's underpinned by research and analysis. So that means you'll go away and you'll look at the wider world of the arts, and you'll look at contemporary practices or historical developments that underpin the work that you're doing, so you can see where it's come from and you understand what you're doing. So that research, reflective practice and practical elements, usually those three elements form the basis of the work that's going to be assessed. And as I said, for the most part, that's internally assessed, but there are elements of external examination. One thing I would say is that most courses that we run are assessed on pass, merit and distinction levels. We've recently introduced on what we call formative assessments. So these, for want of a better word, are practice assessments. So we'll do practice projects so you can get some feedback and get a sense of where you're going, but it's not a grade that you're then stuck with. So we've introduced this idea of sort of giving you a numerical, not grade, but score, if you like. So you can kind of see where you are on the range of things. So if you're maybe on a merit level grade, actually you're working quite close to being a distinction. How much more do you need to do to just sort of push it over? As Ian discussed, you get lots of one-to-one feedback all the time. So we do one-to-one sessions, you get written feedback at the end of assignments, and we are there available for questions if anybody has them. So I think we've probably covered assessment there. So modules on performing arts courses. We look at a range of modules. Everything builds towards that element of performance. We do lots of performances, about 5 a year. So we have an induction performance, which is kind of right before the first half term. So you really get a sense of what it means to work to a deadline and work towards a performance. And that's usually a public one. It wasn't this year because obviously the pandemic. But then we do a Christmas show, which we've actually got one at the Landmark next week. So if anyone wants to come and see what we do, I could speak for hours, but it's probably a lot easier if you come and actually watch it. So that's at the Landmark on Thursday and Friday this coming week. So you look at those performance-based elements, and then everything's supported by the wider aspects of the performing arts. So one of the core things is you'll look at the industry, so how the industry works, the different components to the performing arts industry, because it's actually a massive sector. And people do get kind of caught up in this idea of that tiny little bit, which is the moment on stage. But there's like a mountain of work that you have to do before you can get to that little point on stage and performance. But as I say, it's a massive sector, and we have a lot of students that end up diversifying and actually going sort of into areas they didn't perhaps think they would. So into teaching, into staging, production, lighting. We've had wig makers. We've had people that have gone on to actually be photographers and specialising in headshots for performers. So you can really diversify, and you'll learn all about the industry and the different sectors to it. We prepare you so that you have the ability to potentially set up your own theatre company. Lots of people are self-employed across all of the industries that we're talking about today. So arts, media, performing arts, dance, music. A lot of people will set up their own businesses or be self-employed. So we look at all the work that goes in behind that. We look at all the skills you need to be successful in any form of employment. And I think that's one of the most important aspects that I would always want, really, I suppose, for parents to understand, because there's always that concern. If you pick a vocational subject that's creative, actually, what are the chances of you getting a job? Actually, when you choose one of our creative courses, we really look at what makes you employable as a person. And that's probably the single most important thing. You know, we've already talked about confidence and self-belief, and being able to sort of hold your own in an interview context, being able to show your initiative and start up your own entrepreneurial activity or your own business. So it's really all those skills that you need that really make you very, very employable, very flexible. You can diversify your skills. And essentially, when you've got that ability to be able to present yourself really well and be able to work under pressure, you're really ahead of the game when you go for any job interview. And we do have a lot of people that become successful in marketing, sales, anything in the leisure and entertainment industry, because they've got that real quality to be able to connect with people and communicate. And that's really, really important for any walk of life that you end up going into, whatever career you choose. So there's something that we really sort of focus on. So in terms of those modules, it is the kind of the underpinning business side of the performing arts, the research and contextualization of what you do, and then the practical element, which is based around performance and rehearsal. I think that covers it.
How is studying art and design at college different to school? It's a great question, that, because I hope that it's kind of massively different. Obviously we interview all of our learners before they come to us, and it's always lovely to see the work that people have made, because it's always a little window into the soul in some respects. But one of the things that kind of you sometimes see is that a lot of the things are similar because everyone's doing the same thing at the same time, and that's the difference. We still obviously work within the parameters of art and design, so we might be looking at 2D, we might be looking at 3D or photography or illustration or graphic arts or, you know, computer-based imagery, etc. But we want you to kind of establish what your practice is within that field. These days, that kind of thing where people say, I'm just going to be a graphic designer, don't talk to me about anything to do with drawing, isn't really the reality. The reality is that you need a whole series of skills to be able to adapt, like Claire was saying, so that basically if someone says, yeah, I need a graphic designer, but also I need 15 photographs of, you know, those bottles of pop over there, and I need you to kind of create 5 adverts for it, and I need someone to kind of draw something that looks handmade but's not. You know, what we're talking about there straight away is a whole range of different skills, looking at Illustrator, looking at Photoshop, looking at photography, doing all those really simple things, but they're really, really different in that basically the whole of our courses are to do with problem solving, and the problem is trying to figure out what your practice is going to be. Where do you sit within this massive industry? And basically, you're lucky, we've got a whole range of people that have worked within the industry. So we've got people that are textiles experts, people that are 3D experts, people that have made films, people that have photographed for a living, etc. And all of these skills are just there, and we have the ability to be able to support you in gaining that confidence, making an excellent portfolio, and making the next step, whatever that might be for you. So they are similar from school, but it's a lot different because it's more about you.
Yeah, definitely, and I'd say that applies to all the subjects.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate. We have some amazing facilities at Petroc, which we really make the most of. And the art barns that we have are specialist areas. So, Ian, do you want to talk about those a little bit first?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's one of those amazing things that we have that lots of other places don't. Lots of colleges run art in classrooms, and it's like a classroom like in a school. and basically you all squeeze in and you've all got a small table and you all look towards the front. Ours isn't like that. If you could imagine, and you're always welcome to come and visit post-COVID, but it's a big open space. It's set up like a proper art studio. You get your own table, you get your own wall where you can put all your ideas and things up. There's print presses, there's dark rooms, there's 3D printers, there's all sorts of stuff that you're able to employ when exploring particular themes or assignments that you're doing. So what you've got is a space where people collaborate. So they work together and do things like all sorts of experimental kind of techniques that we want you to engage with. And then you've got time to kind of spend a bit of time writing things up and not feel that someone's, you know, right over your shoulder or right next to you, because they won't be. So they're a really big, open, creative space. Claire, do you want to talk about theatre or?
I'd love to, yeah. So Performing Arts and Music are based at Branham's, which is in Roundswell. We have purpose-built facilities there, and they really are incredible. So we have a small theatre space and a purpose-built dance studio, which is huge. It's possibly the biggest in Devon, actually, with a sprung floor, mirrors, air conditioning. It's a really lovely big window, so a lovely light space. We have other rehearsal rooms and classroom space there as well. But for music, we have the Factory, which is a 800 capacity music venue. So that's fully equipped with a full stage and rig, lighting, PA, sound system. We've got 2 studios based there that you will have access to use. And we also have rehearsal booths, and we have the computer suites as well. So we have designated rooms. We have 2 of them, Mac rooms, so Mac labs for working on music technology. And everybody gets to work together. We do huge live performances in music in the Factory venue, so their live audiences can come and watch those. And then the tech students actually run those shows as well, which is really good. When we have, because obviously it's a live music venue, we have visiting artists. So students that work really hard and are really responsible and really keen have the opportunity to actually work as part of the Factory. So we've had like George Ezra in, we've got Martin Kemp coming in, we've got Craig Charles, Scouting for Girls, The Feeling. So obviously all this has been pushed back with the pandemic. But we have these artists that are really, really well known, and they're right here on our doorstep. And as I say, if you work really hard, there are opportunities for you to be part of the team that run those events and have like a job role within that. So yeah, some really exciting things that we have there. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any more questions? Okay, so progression. Ian, do you want to start with this one?
More than happy to. It's vital in terms of what we do, making sure that we prepare you for your next step. It's kind of all the way through all of our courses. We're constantly asking you, and what would you like to do next? Why do you want to do that? Okay, how can we help you get there? So each of the courses is different, but basically a lot of our level 3 year 2 learners either go on to either our foundation course, which is an additional free 1-year course for under 19s, or they go to university. And they do so many different courses. It's unbelievable, from, you know, kind of all sorts of really interesting stuff, from sort of jewelry design at Cardiff to kind of photography at Falmouth to all sorts of different things. So this year is all, you know, it's really exciting to see. And they come back, they visit us, they talk to our learners every year about their experiences. They talk about the way in which the skills that they gained with us prepared them for their, you know, time at uni and helped them with their first year. I'm conscious we're running out of time, and Shannon
was just going to say the same thing. Yeah, actually.
So how many days a week will I study on a full-time course? It's a really good question. It depends on the course, but it's full-time in FE isn't the same as full-time at school, but you're looking at usually about 3.5 days, something like that. Okay, depending on the course and the timetable.
If you're on projects, you might come in more, so be prepared.
Yes, and also we do it. Yeah, and we expect you to be working at home as well, so that's sort of independent learning.
Okay.
I hope that answers that.
Yeah. I mean, before we just go, I just want to sort of very quickly pick up on that idea that we have amazing progression routes and our students are fantastic it's all about that. But if you do have any more questions, please do get in contact. You can see just below.
Yep.
Doing it the right way. But yeah, don't hesitate to get in touch with us, and we will get back to you and give you all the information that you need. So hopefully we look forward to seeing you soon, and good luck with your GCSEs this year.
Yeah, good luck.
Excellent. Bye.